Warning: this podcast was intended for mature audiences. The intention of the podcast is to be relatively lighthearted, so please do not take anything too seriously. Hope you enjoy it.
I'm about to start. I was letting there be a little bit of a blank.
I'm sorry. Go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I don't know if my mic's in the right spot today. I just realized that. So welcome back to the Slightly Improper Podcast. This is episode 3. Episode 3, week 3. The current date is the 8th of October. I don't know if we've mentioned this, but we actually record the week before we release. So we released episode 1 last week, which has done awesome. We weren't expecting, to get nearly 80 views on YouTube, and I think we got nearly 40 views on Spotify, which is crazy. It's insane. Raph, I'll leave it over to you now.
I was just saying about how before, how we were super happy about how everyone liked it. Me and Connor both got a ton of nice comments, which was good. It's interesting how we're also replying to this on the 3rd episode because we sometimes do, we do it as many times as we can a week, recording, you'll see this now 2 weeks in advance from when we're recording it, or 1 week, sorry. But how many good comments there were on the videos,
really good
and
to
how
see
everyone
all
liked
the
it.
support that we got from everybody.
It's pretty cool. Looking forward to making the podcast better and better every week, dude.
Absolutely, that's what we want. Yeah, and I can already see we're starting to get that connection, next level connection, bro.
That's good.
That's
All
awesome.
right. I nearly forgot that we're going to talk about this week, actually. Connor and I had a chat, and we realized that, we both talk about movies, and we did both weeks. So we're going to start bringing in, not like a set segment. It's not like, it can never come out, but it's going to be like a consistent segment that comes through each week. And that's going to be, God, I'm choking. A movie segment where we talk about movies and TV shows that we've watched. And we're also going to be looking to get recommendations from people who are watching, and they can comment oh yeah, I recommend this film, watch it, and then we'll talk about it the next week.
Yeah. Leading on from that, our aim, again, as Raph said, is to basically, watch at least one movie or start a TV series or something weekly, whether that's a recommendation or something we found on Netflix, Stan, or Prime. And from that, we'll discuss that in a segment again. Just depends, how the movie is, and what we think of it, and we'll chat about that for a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Do we have a movie this week that we want to talk about, or a show that we've both talked about?
I do, actually. I do.
Which movie is it, Connor?
So it's I want to talk about 2. Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
So
good.
I actually only recently watched for the first time ever. I watched The Shining.
Oh yes.
Have you watched it?
Yeah. I was there for a little bit. And
then you were there. That's right.
I looked up. I was really
yeah. So we're in we were just in a Discord server, just watching it together. And it was crazy. Honestly, it was screwing with my head so much, and I didn't know what was going on because it's a psychological thriller. I went into it thinking it's a horror, but I never realized again it's a psychological thriller, which is not good. See, I mean, it was a really interesting movie for me. Oh, what the fuck?
What? You're good?
No, I'm not all good. Ah, shit.
What happened?
Fuck. All right, we'll have to use your part of the recording at the start. That's all right.
Really?
Why the
Is
fuck?
it scuffed up? I can just edit it. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. Sweet.
Okay.
Why is this fucking scuffed?
I can jump cut whatever just to
that's fine.
spit and say
Yeah. So anyway, do you have any comments on The Shining? Have you watched it?
Well, when I was with you there and I was watching it, I kind of knew what happens because you see all the old classic,
the clips.
But I kind of just, when I was watching it, I wasn't paying full attention. I just kind of read the summary on Wikipedia and was like, okay, that's what happens.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit confusing. It's one of those movies where it kind of almost feels like an art house film in some ways because it's I don't know, you kind of have to assume some stuff, but also, I don't know, it's he went crazy and started having intrusive thoughts because he's lonely and isolated. But I guess, I don't know, is it supposed to be speaking about, but like I don't know what are the themes like.
Yeah.
I'm just a bit confused on why he went crazy. For those who haven't seen it, like the main guy goes crazy and kills his family.
Yeah, or tries to.
Yeah.
But then again, because I found that exact same thing, I didn't quite get it, and then I watched the sequel.
Wait, it's a sequel?
Doctor Sleep. It's only just been released on Netflix.
Oh right, okay.
So that was it. I mean, it didn't. It's sort of related to the first one, but I guess it explained what happened. I guess at the hotel and why everything happened there. And I mean,
right, okay.
It was actually I definitely preferred the second to the first. I gotta say that.
Oh really? Okay.
It's one of the few movies I prefer the sequels to.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was a sequel. I just thought it was a completely different.
Yeah,
different movie.
I didn't realize until the other week when I saw it on Netflix.
Does it explain why? Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but like.
Yeah, I'm trying not to spoil it for you or anyone. Pardon?
Does it explain why he went crazy, or like? I'm still kind of confused. I don't know if that's supposed to be ambiguous or.
It sort of does. I would say it does.
It does? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'll watch it again and I'll actually like fully watch it, full attention.
You know? And then we can talk about it more next week as well. If we want.
Hell yeah, that's cool. What was the other movie we wanted to do? Wait.
Those were both of my movies.
Oh, okay, I get it because it's 1 and 2. Hell yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Actually, one thing I want to talk about, movie/TV. You've watched The Boys, haven't you? Or you've watched?
I've watched season 1. I haven't watched season 2 yet.
Yeah, I like binge watched it the other week. Like I literally caught up season 1 and season 2. Dude, it's so much different to what the advertisements show, I feel like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think it caught me off guard. Like I liked it, don't get me wrong, but like I saw so many advertisements for so many months, and I didn't even like realize that the show was about that.
Yeah.
I knew it was about superheroes, but like even the name caught me off guard. Like The Boys, I thought it was like a comedy.
I mean, it sort of is a comedy.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a dark comedy in some ways, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. It was a whole lot better. So if you guys haven't watched The Boys on Amazon Prime, give it a go. It's not like what it seems if you think it's like just like a superhero thing. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I will put a warning in there as well. It is quite gory. So watch. I mean, if you're good with gore, then it's awesome. I will say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just be prepared for quite a bit of gore.
Yeah, it's R18. There's quite a bit of nudity and violence. So
yeah,
but it's still good. Still recommend it.
Yeah, highly recommend.
I like it a lot. I want to. I have written down as like what happened this week in like as a summary, but like I mean like that's pretty average. But I want to talk about. I had last week was my holiday week for like the final stretch of uni. Like we had a week off. And I was just saying how like the week literally went so quick and I did nothing. Like nothing was achieved. And it's like I didn't even realize I was on holidays. It felt like school because I had homework to do.
Yeah.
And I was doing like work. So it was like why are holidays even a thing in COVID? Like why do they exist? Imagine if you could finish the whole year earlier, without the holidays.
I guess it's I guess it sort of still makes sense because they're trying to keep it as similar to as if we were there as possible. So they're gonna say they're gonna give you a break just to basically take some time off, gather your head, just get out of. You're supposed to at least get out of it for a week, but I mean, if you're like standard, I guess, me, I'm doing assessments for that whole week.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like I was doing work the whole week, and it's like it just feels like a normal week, except just ditching class. That's how it feels like.
Yeah. But it feels like semester 1.
Do you have exams, Scott?
I have one exam and that's it.
Like a big? Is it a chunky exam, or is it like?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
I've only got one big exam. Yeah, I've got a few tests and quote quizzes. But yeah, again, that's about it, really.
I actually had a question about exams. I was talking to a friend, one of my friends I play games with a fair bit, and he was talking about how like his exams, like he's coming up to final exams, and he's in his like last year of doing psychology. And he's for his exams, his teachers basically like they acknowledge that people are going to cheat, so they quite literally make it like open book, even though it's not like open book formally.
Yeah, it's not meant to be
just like, yeah, you can literally just like have a tab open next to you while you're doing the exam because you're at home,
for sure.
and no one will know. Like, how are they gonna mitigate that? I was talking to him like, dude, are we gonna get like the dumbest generation of graduates this year because of like all people cheating?
You see all the memes with like the engineers with bridges falling and buildings falling over and all that.
Literally.
But yeah, I actually want to jump on that there. I think I saw, I don't know, it was a weird application over in America. They would like lock out the computers so they could only have that tab.
Really?
Yeah, but what people were then doing were just using their phones or another laptop. So I mean, they're cheating either way. So it wasn't. So then they stopped doing it because, I mean, people are going to do it. It's something that you can't stop. It's hard to mitigate that.
Yeah, I thought like, how are they okay with that? Like, I think it's crazy. But I mean, like, you can't just not do it. I guess you have to kind of
yeah.
So,
You got to be assessed to some extent. And don't get me wrong, for some subjects, you can't Google all the answers. You might be able to Google like definitions or something, but like I know for my bio subject, there's no way you could Google everything. Like again, you could Google definitions, but questions where they're looking at, what part of like a spinal nerve is this or something, and you can't Google that.
Yeah, same with like a maths exam. You can't just Google like. Surely you can use. I know there's like those maths calculators like online and stuff where you literally put the equation and does it, but still, you know what I mean? Like, there's some stuff you can't search up, I guess.
Exactly, there's definitely some stuff. Like if it's a long equation or something, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess inherently it's bad, but like it's not really because like you still have to study. You can't just like search stuff up on the fly. You have to like know stuff. I feel
exactly.
Like, to some extent, otherwise you can't cheat. Yeah, maybe I blew it up in my head a little bit too much. I thought it was something crazy.
I get you though.
Yeah, for sure. I actually want to check here really quickly. I was going to pull it up before, but I may as well just pull it up now. I said to Connor before, I don't want to be a fucking narcissist and just talk about myself, but I had a really cool experience the other day on my ArtStation. ArtStation is basically like a website, a platform where like artists, mainly digital, but same with traditional like two-dimensional art, put art like in a folio. It's like a folio website, and like people share their art. It's kind of like Instagram for artwork. And people can like hire you from there and like just share it for fun. And so it's like a professional platform. And the old lead environment like artist from Square Enix in Japan literally like followed me and liked my shit. So I was like not freaking out, but I was kind of just like, wait, what? Yeah. Why is this guy who's actually like good at stuff? Why is he liking my shit? And I just thought it was kind of crazy. Like, it's actually like, there's actually platforms out there to network with really good people.
Exactly.
And I just thought it was crazy, that's all.
Yeah, exactly. I agree that's crazy to have someone, that has so much experience in that field and they've seen your stuff and they've liked it and they're like, wow, that's good. And
exactly.
That I guess that helps you with your, self-confidence and all that with your work.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought it was weird how like, how accessible it was, I guess, and how almost like out of the blue it was. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'm going to put more effort into this. Anyway, I thought it was interesting. It's like, especially when you've like engaged in someone's products, it's like, I don't know, someone who's worked on like a film or something, like, oh yeah, I worked on, I don't know, fucking, it could be anything, Spider-Man, and oh, that's cool. And it's like, oh, that's a real person, I forget. Anyway, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
On the note of games, I have written down, we were going to talk about console wars and the game industry and games in general. I actually think it's a really good topic for this week in general, since we're approaching the release of the PS5 and the Xbox.
Okay. I don't know what the new one's called.
Yeah, exactly. That's even that's a good talking point. Like, what is the Xbox called? Is it the Xbox Series X?
I don't know. I
think it is.
I think so, because they had the Xbox One S.
And the Xbox One X as well.
And then that's where I get confused between the Series X and the One X. I think I actually saw news. I think it was a news article the other day, and the Amazon sales of the Xbox One X spiked by like 800% because people thought it was the Series X.
Why would the marketing team think that's okay? They know that like parents for Christmas are gonna buy their kids this shit, and they don't know the difference between anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they're just gonna pick up the old one by accident. That's like a marketing mistake. It seems like even I'm confused, and it sounds like a market. And I'm not saying like even I know everything, but someone who cares a lot about gaming and consoles, and you as well, and we're not even sure of like what it is. Like imagine parents and stuff trying to buy stuff for their kids, and like
completely. And I guess that's one thing I do have to give props to PlayStation and Sony. They've kept it so simple, it's easy. Like even with like the PSP, it was nice, simple. The PlayStation Portable, PSP. It was kept nice and simple. Didn't have any, Series X, blah blah blah, whatever. Because sometimes you just can't tell.
And with PS5, the number can just go up each time, and that's
exactly. And it's easy.
What are your thoughts on like the console wars overall? Do you participate in the war? That sounds so cringe.
No.
But do you participate in the war, or do you just think it's dumb?
I guess that it's a hard topic because, like, don't get me wrong, I have my preferences. I get it. Everybody has their preferences. I don't see the need for a war particularly. Like, quote, war. No, it's not a literal war, but obviously. But like, yeah, again, I've got my preference. I personally, like, I mean, at the moment, I've got my PC now. I prefer that. But before I had my PC, I was PlayStation. I had PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation 4. So, of course, I had that growing up. Of course, I'm going to be more biased towards that. But I completely see it from the other side. If their parents bought them an Xbox when they were younger, they're going to be more biased to buy the Xbox.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's there are I don't think there's like there should be like some like Chad elitist war between people on different platforms, but like I do think there are there are obviously objective differences and stuff.
Yeah.
People are sleeping on the Xbox Game Pass though this year.
They are like I'm actually probably going to buy it for PC.
A Netflix for games, but like not like Stadia, like not a cloud service, but like quite literally an arsenal of games of like AAA games that will get updated for next gen. Like, and it's that cheap. Like, that's crazy.
I think it's $120 for the year or something. I think, or $16 a month or something like that. And
I assume they're putting new games on it as well as like Netflix. They put new shit on it.
Exactly.
As well.
I'm pretty sure they will, but they've also they're going to. It's a work in progress, but they're going to be implementing the EA Play Pass, so it's going to have all the EA games as well included.
Oh, really?
Which is crazy, and I'm mad about that because I just bought the EA Play Pass on Steam, so that's a bit of a stitch up on my arm.
What's that? Is that like a Game Pass for all EA games, or?
Yeah, so basically, like I've got for like new games such as like FIFA 21, that's just been released. I had 10 hours of gameplay with that. I didn't use it all obviously because I got bored pretty quickly. But yeah, I've got like most of the Need for Speeds, The Sims 4, The Sims 3 if you really want. All those sort of EA games, the older EA games, I guess you could say. Like again, Mass Effect is on there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's interesting anyway how I was a PS4 person as well. I had a PS3 as well. And I played the other PSs when I was younger, but I was always like a Wii person. But like I think the PS4 did win that generation though. They had just a lot better games, I think.
I
not in terms of hardware power, but because apparently the Xbox was like more powerful, but the games on PS4 were really good, man. Like
I agree.
Really good.
The amount of PS4 exclusives compared to Xbox exclusives, because like don't get me wrong, Xbox has Halo and what else? What else do they have? And you look at PS4.
The Halos were bad, weren't they? The new ones, they were like bad, Infinite or whatever it is.
I don't know. I've never played them. I played them when I was younger, like really young, at Princess, but that's it. But then again, you look at the PS4. They've got Spider-Man, they've got Last of Us, they've got
Horizon?
The Outer Worlds. Actually, was the Outer Worlds?
No, I think that's everywhere.
Oh, I think it started off as PS4 though.
Maybe Horizon though.
Horizon, yeah.
There's a few.
There are definitely more than the Xbox.
For sure. I think it's crazy, but I think I'm interested to see how it goes this next generation. It'll be an interesting.
Yeah.
I think with Microsoft just buying Bethesda, did they just buy Bethesda?
They did, yeah.
They're not giving up, which is good.
They're not. It'll be.
I do. Yeah.
It'll be really interesting to see what's going to happen with what has the more sales, because personally, like if I were to buy a console right now, I would honestly probably go ahead and buy the Xbox. That's like, and I've been a PlayStation fan for years.
You would.
I would,
That's
and
crazy.
the only reason for that is literally the Xbox Game Pass. It's insane for how cheap it is. Like you've got so many games.
Going to retaliate with the same thing, like you know what I mean? Like they're going to have to. I feel like.
I think they have released something similar, but I haven't had an in-depth look at it. That's why again I'm leaning more towards the Xbox. But I have not had an in-depth look at that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have a bit of a hot take. I don't think we've got many people like watching who are fans of that stuff, but like I always hear like not like the kind of more the people who just like live for the nostalgia of games. I think Halo is an outdated concept. I really do. I think it's an outdated and milked, and I think the same about COD. To be honest,
Yeah,
I don't think you can go. I don't think you can go wrong with just a bread and butter shooter like COD. But I really do think the core idea of Halo is fine. Like, I mean, it's like a space shooter game. Like, I know Destiny's not the same game, but you know what I mean. Like, space people marine game.
Yeah.
But like the new one I hear, like it just looks like the old game with updated graphics. Like the actual gameplay mechanics, I think are outdated, and I think they're boring.
Yeah.
I think that's a hot take. It's a really nuclear hot take, but
that would turn some heads, to say the least.
I don't think Microsoft should be riding on Halo. They're just riding on nostalgia, and they need to do what PS does and like invest in new concepts and new visionaries to make awesome games, which they have this last generation.
And even like, because don't get me wrong, they've bought Bethesda, but what are they gonna do with Bethesda? Like, they've got the Fallout franchise, and they've got the Elder Scrolls franchise now. But
Elden Ring, what's that new one? Is it Elden Ring?
I have no idea.
That big thing they hyped up. Yeah, they have some new hyped up franchise that people are getting crazy about.
I haven't seen it, honestly. But anyway, they've got those, right? But I forgot what I was gonna say.
Sorry, dude. I fucking interrupted you.
That's fine. Shoot.
Heck.
Heckin'. Yes. Oh yeah. Because if you look at them, like, they're both. They're not similar, but they are in the same sort of concept. You know, like the difference between Fallout and the Elder Scrolls. So like, you look at Skyrim, and you look at like Fallout 4, and it's sort of they're huge.
It's almost
huge
same
games.
game, different skin.
Exactly. Same game, like, different sort of era, but same idea. You got to quest through this. You've got X amount of choices. You've got X amount of side quests, etc., etc.
Yeah, for sure. I think they do pretty well at it when they try, I think.
Oh yeah. But don't get me wrong, I loved Skyrim.
Yeah, Skyrim is insane. Yeah. I like Fallout 4 as well.
I played a bit of Fallout 4, but I couldn't, because I watched through it. I think I watched Jacksepticeye play through it like years ago.
Oh yeah.
So then I could never really be bothered playing it.
Fair, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, games like that. What do you think about company failures? Like, I wanted to talk about I think we briefly talked about it the other week, but like, I was reading some articles actually about like games, like literally like coming up like this and dropping like this, like literally like flies.
Like Fall Guys.
Fall Guys, Hyperscape. Fall Guys isn't completely dead, but like
dying very quickly.
Like Hyperscape is one of those ones that I really called out. Like the game is really good quality objectively. There's a lot of like balance things wrong with it and pacing things, but in terms of like the art and like the actual quality, it's AAA for sure. It's a free battle royale, and they're following a very modern model, like battle pass, battle royale, that kind of thing. Yet it was popular in the beta, and then it's just like now it's getting 100 viewers on Twitch and barely anyone's playing it. And it makes me question, like, a company like Ubisoft, like, that's like a massive failure. Like, that's a AAA company with a dead game literally within a week of release. Yeah. Within a week. Like, surely they have, like, a small community that's, like, consistent to the game and all that.
They probably
how do they...
But, like, I'm not gonna lie, I hadn't heard about it until you spoke about it last week. So, I don't know if that's negatives to their marketing team or whatever, but again, I hadn't heard anything about it. Like, I'd heard, say, you look at games, like, I didn't see a Hyperscape trailer. I've seen trailers for heaps of other games. Again, never seen a Hyperscape trailer.
No, it's interesting how they almost, like, there's a lot of ads on Twitch and stuff, but like just fell under the radar and just disappeared. But that's like a AAA studio, I just thought that was really weird.
Yeah.
Like that there's like almost like there's nothing that obviously nothing stays forever, but like think of a game like CS:GO or even Overwatch. I know Overwatch is nowhere near as like, old as CS:GO, but like it's a game that like lasts forever, like in some ways. And how do you create games like that?
I guess it's hard because people they don't want the same game twice.
Yeah.
Like, you've got Overwatch, you've got Counter-Strike, but you don't want another one of those sort of games. Like, I guess you could say that Counter-Strike's a bit similar to Valorant in some sense, except it's got abilities. And
Counter-Strike was there first though, and it's
Exactly.
better in so many ways, you know.
Yeah, like personally, I prefer Counter Strike. I don't play enough of it, but again, I think that it's hard to come up. I get it for companies. It's hard to come up with a new idea that they want to make, but I think that it's necessary to further the future of gaming, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. That makes me question. On the topic of like the games, because I think Hyperscape is a legitimately good game, and when I played it, I was like, yeah, this is my new main game. Like, I loved it. I think it was super fun, super like it was very vertical, like a lot of movement abilities, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sliding around. It was almost like COD, super vertical, but like super fast paced, and you can like res really quickly. So it was like really up pace.
Yeah.
The game was very easy if you had good aim because there was tons of hit scan weapons, and everyone did jumps in the air and shit. You could just snipe people. The sniper was broken. The game was very easy if you had good aim. But like. Then I think of a game like Modern Warfare. It's a good game. Like, there are very objectively good things about it. But, like, Modern Warfare is so popular. Have you seen on Twitch how popular it is? Like, Warzone is so popular with the normie crowd, you know?
I'm
so popular,
personally not a fan. That's the thing. I'm not a huge fan of Warzone.
Neither am I. No, neither. But, like, you see how popular it is. Like,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
And that's, like, a free battle royale that they released. Like, and you could argue that space has been filled with Warzone. Like, there's so many battle royales, yet that one just succeeds. Is it just because it's COD or because it's very accessible to people who don't, aren't hardcore gamers all the time? Like, what are these key like kind of factors of success? Obviously, there's luck in it as well, but like, it's not luck all the time. There's a method to the madness, you know.
Yeah, completely. There's skill involved, and I think something else that makes it really big, which I think makes a lot of games really big, is cross-platform play.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Because I think that's a great idea that, it should be implemented in more games. And again, it's something that, people do because you have friends on PC, you have friends on Xbox, you have friends on PlayStation, and, you can't, in most games, you can't play together. I know that's why, like, you and me, we'd, still play Fortnite because some of our friends were on PlayStation, and, it was just a way to play with them. It was good to play.
Yeah. No, I agree entirely. I 100% agree. You think about the most popular games, and all of them cross-platform.
Exactly.
Fortnite, Fall Guys isn't cross-platform.
No, it's not.
If it was off the bat, it would have popped off even more.
Oh yeah, for sure, it would have popped off even more.
Because people on console like were envious, but like even that Fortnite, Modern Warfare, two of the biggest games in the world. Like, it's hard for games like that are competitive though as well. Like you can't make CS cross-platform. You can't make Overwatch. No. You can't make League of Legends cross-platform. It just doesn't work, unfortunately.
The only way you could make a game like CSGO cross-platform if, everybody had to use controller or something.
Yeah.
Which is dumb, because why would you get it then on PC? Because
exactly.
Some people don't like using controllers.
It's odd. I think as well I had written down EA, 2K, and FIFA. And I know you're a fan of FIFA, and I know a lot of our friends are fans of 2K and stuff. And I know I used to love FIFA like back in high school.
Back in high school, yeah.
I don't know. I have issues with it. I have a lot of issues with it. I have a concern with it. Like the fact that they continue to succeed no matter how much people shit on them. And the fact that they continue to make money, because it just perpetuates the issues that it's like they get away with murder. Like they straight up just like Control-C, Control-V, and I don't know, add like an extra port to Steph Curry's face, and it's easy money.
Don't get me wrong. I never really played too much 2K, and I never really played much Madden. But again, I played quite a lot of FIFA throughout my childhood growing up. That was one of my main games I probably played, even whether it was on iOS or again PlayStation. But yeah, I found the last quote, I guess you could say, good FIFA that I played was probably FIFA 15, and that was 6 years ago.
That's a classic, dude. FIFA 15 was good as though.
FIFA 15 was good. FIFA 14 as well. But yeah, again, I played. I went from FIFA 18 to FIFA 20, and not much had changed at all. Like,
what can you change without inherently changing the sport?
Exactly,
like,
though.
How is it going to work?
I don't know. But then again, like I think I told you I played a little bit of FIFA 21 earlier the other day. And like it almost feels worse than FIFA 20. Like, I know it's hard to say, but like the pack opening, watching the pack openings, it's just like it almost looks choppy and just looks undermade.
Yeah. That's interesting. I just don't understand. Like, obviously, I honestly think the ethical thing to do with FIFA is to like make it a live service game. You know, it already is a live service game, but do you know what I mean? Like, have it a singular, like just called FIFA, and it's a live service game that they update every year.
Yeah,
and like DLC.
That's what they're doing
like
with FIFA Mobile now.
They should do that. Obviously, that's the ethical thing to do, but the easy money way thing to do is just release a new game every year.
Yeah.
It's true. I hate to say it's true.
And I gotta admit though, like they've screwed up FIFA Mobile though. They have. They really did screw that up. Like again, we played back in when we were in year 8. We played FIFA 15 like non-stop. Year 8, year 9, and it was just fun because you know. It felt more of an experience than FIFA Mobile is now. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, damn. No, it's an interesting kind of dynamic, but I just thought it was worth bringing up. I mean, I don't know how to feel about it. I guess at the moment it's kind of a bit all over the place.
Understandable. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We have as like our last topic time travel written down, and you're gonna surprise me with this. So take it away, dude. I don't know. Do you still have that idea in your head, or?
I mean. Alright, do we want to... yeah, alright. So, I basically had a concept, right? And when you look at time travel... Alright, I'm not going to go I'm not going to nerd out too much, basically, because I'm a fan of looking at, how time travel work, etc., etc. Don't get me wrong, I don't believe it's possible. I'm just going to say that straight up. I do not believe it would be possible. However, if it was, I believe that they're looking at it completely wrong. Like, for example... You look at the grandfather effect, all right? And then you look at the grandfather effect, basically. So, you have a time machine. You want to go back in time to kill your grandfather. You kill your grandfather, but then you're never made to be able to kill your grandfather.
Oh, okay.
So it's an endless loop.
Yeah. Okay, that's trippy.
Yeah. And then what's also I don't remember where. I think I learned this in like physics or something. Like an object cannot exist twice in the exact same time, which I guess would be in like if you're looking at time travel, it's you cannot exist in the same time that you existed. However, you cannot time travel beyond your age because I believe that when you time travel, you'd age with it. You'd age because all your atoms are also, either decreasing age or increasing in age, etc. Did you get what I'm saying here?
Yeah, but wouldn't that be wouldn't that age kind of point be outmatched by the fact that time is relative? Like,
yeah.
If time were to move forward, okay, right. I get what you're saying.
That's where it gets trippy.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's more just like, it's one of those things that like, it's almost impossible to conceptualize.
Yeah.
Like, how do you conceptualize that?
There's so many different ideas and concepts out there. Like, I know that, like, what you just say again, I can't remember.
Wait, what do you mean I just said then?
Yeah.
About, like, how, how do you know that we would age, like, with time travel and how, like, time is relative and that,
relative, yeah. So,
how do you even conceptualize it?
Yeah. So you look at time being relative, right? And it's relative to the observer. Time is relative to the observer. So, if, say you're passing through time as is, and I were to jump from start to like 10 years in the future, again, you would have aged, but I would not have. But it doesn't make sense. I think that you would have to age in order to be living in that time.
Yeah. That's a lot of words. I'm trying to...
It is. It's a bit...
I'm trying to think about it.
It's a bit hard to conceptualize.
Yeah, I might look into it because I like watching that stuff. Sometimes it makes me like too tripped out, and I get like kind of like, whoa, I gotta step back, otherwise I won't be able to sleep tonight. But like, it is fun. It is like.
I just find it really interesting, just to look at and examine all the possibilities, how it would work, etc., etc.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's sick actually. I was thinking about when you said time travel as well, like going in the past. Let's just say that like. Let's just say that grandfather rule and like the other rules, like just forget about them for a second.
Forget about them all. All right.
Yeah, forget about them. I was watching this viral video from like I think it was like 2015 or 2017, and it has like not a bajillion views. What am I about? A lot of views anyway. And it was just like the history of the whole world in 20 minutes. And it was like,
yes.
You seen that? Yeah. And that was actually interesting. Like not even just like how it happened, but more like when societies came around, and it was like, I don't know. I find looking at like, I used to be one of those people who's like, oh yeah, I don't like society. I don't like society. I don't like history. Like, I'm all about the future and stuff like that. But like, when I like look at like old pictures and old like artwork and stuff, it actually hits different. Like, I know like that's like the TikTok line, but like, I could like look at it and I'm like that was made by someone like hundreds of years ago in a different time period. Literally doing what we're doing now. They're documenting their life at that moment in time.
Yeah.
I find that weird to think about. I don't know why. It's probably just like I'm quirky, like, I'm not like other people kind of thing.
God.
Like, it's so weird.
I get where you're coming from. But
yeah,
I guess
it's cool.
I'm similar, but I guess I don't it's hard to say, but I don't appreciate like, artwork.
Fair enough.
Because I mean mainly because I'm bad at it. I really cannot draw or anything. Like, don't get me wrong, I respect them completely. People that can, artists are insane. But looking at history, I'm sort of with you. I find it interesting though. I find it really interesting. Like in school, I was never, that into it. But I guess because they're looking at like what they offered, Australian history or like, World War II history or like French Revolution's history revs. And what I really enjoyed is looking at, the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, and all that sort of the Greek history,
stuff.
all that sort of stuff. I guess that's also probably because, growing up I read, Percy Jackson series and all that, so I'm more entailed to look at that. And don't get me wrong, it's still incredibly interesting. Like, I really want to travel to Rome and to Greece one day.
Yeah. Like, I mean, when I went to Europe and stuff and I went to Greece, we went to like this like almost like, it was almost otherworldly in some ways. We went to like this like Pantheon place. I think it's a Pantheon. You know those things?
Parthenon or Pantheon?
I don't know.
I don't know. They're two different things.
Those, like, ancient looking buildings. I'm sorry, that sounds so bad. But like, we went inside and there was like, it was like a museum and there was like a bunch of like, those like, you think of those like, sculptures of like men and women, they're like, perfect bodied, like, godlike, Zeus kind of thing, it's all really cool and stuff. It's more just like really interesting how like, people in the past interpreted other people. And I always find those like, almost like those dramatized, like theater, Shakespeare style pictures of people really interesting. Yeah. Like I was looking at this picture of, actually no, I was learning about gout. You know what gout is? Have you heard what gout is?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. It was back in the medieval days, and it was like when kings and people who ate a lot of like too much fats and like very like protein rich food, they would get like this like really shitty like stuff on their foot that would make them swell up.
Yeah.
And it was as a result of overindulging in food. But it was actually like a sign of like, wealth and power, because, only people who could eat a lot could have that. And I thought it was interesting how like, they would like, if you had a self-portrait drawn of you, you were someone, someone special, like, the paintings, and they would always be called like Edmund the Handsome. And I saw a funny meme actually, and it was like, oh yeah, if this is what handsome was back in the day, then I would be like,
then I'm a fucking god.
Yeah, but I just thought it was interesting how, how society's shifting. Like, I know that's so typical, but like, who knows where we're going to be in 30 years? Like, how society's going to work? We're just not going to know. Like, like literally the beauty standard at that time was literally just like a really chubby guy, you know, like the king,
like represented
super
wealth,
wealthy.
But then in today's day and age, I guess that wealth isn't represented by that. Wealth is just, represented by physical things such as, yachts, mansions, etc. That's how wealth is generally.
But back in the day, it was by being like, chubby and well-fed. I just think it was interesting anyway. Yeah. Like, especially in medieval times and stuff.
For sure, yeah. Medieval history, again, that's something I do like looking at. I think that's like horrible histories.
Oh, classic, dude.
Yeah,
classic.
That's when I got onto that.
Classic. You said you liked Roman, the Roman Empire and stuff. What are your thoughts about gladiators? Like, just the idea of gladiators. Do you think that's cool, or do you think it's like, what's your thoughts about that?
It depends what version of gladiators you're talking about.
All right.
Because so I watched this video like I was probably 2 or 3 months ago, right? And growing up, you always thought gladiators fight to the death. That's what you think of, don't you? Is that what you think?
No, not really.
No? Well, anyway, that's what I used to think. But then
to a certain extent,
I watched this video, and it was talking about essentially the rules of gladiatorial battle and how it was actually they couldn't kill the others.
Yeah.
And I found it really interesting. Like, that's not I guess it's sort of, due to media as well. Like, you look at the movie Gladiator, they're chopping off limbs, killing each other, etc., etc. But you watch, like, a movie, not a movie, but, like, a video that explains, the rules of the gladiator battles, etc., etc. And it's actually really interesting. And I actually think it's, because they're not essentially harming each other. So it's a bit like, it's just like today's, rough sport like AFL. It's just a sport.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
No one's getting that harmed at least. And there's
Wait,
always
so they
risks.
wouldn't actually. So no one would die. You're saying? Is that what you're saying?
There were deaths every now and then, but there were apparently they were rare.
Okay. See, my impression was not that they fought to the death. I was under the impression that, like, despite, like, the media being like, oh yeah, the slaves fighting, it's an underdog story. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, they're gonna rise from the bottom to the top. I was always under, like, the realistic impression that it was like, it was literally just a blood sport where they would get someone to essentially torture a slave, basically, as, like, sport, and, like, no, like, I know it's okay. That sounds so bad.
That sounds really bad.
I mean, even watching people fight to the death is bad. Even if that's, like, a common conception, like, you're literally watching people fight to the death, and it's usually slaves and stuff that they put in. I assumed that it was what people did to, like, torment slaves and stuff like that. That's what I thought it was. Like, where they put in two slaves and they, like, have one sword in the middle and they, like, fight, and then people watch and, like, pay money and shit like that. Come on, I feel like that's reasonable.
I mean, I guess, because I don't remember what movie it was, but I guess it's sort of like that again. There's a movie, like, regarding that, it's slaves that entered into the battles, and, there's this one slave that's, just like a god with a sword or whatever. Yeah.
No, I just feel like it's one of those situations where it's like, oh yeah, it's normal to do this, right? Or this is what I think, right? And then no one responds like, right? That's cool, right?
Yeah, I guess it's just misconceptions, and misunderstandings, I guess, following media and following movies. I guess, again, people have different views on movies and they get different things out of it, obviously.
Yeah.
Which,
sure.
Again, you might get that out, and, I'll get something else out of the movie.
For sure. I mean, after this conversation, I'm going to go search up gladiators and we can talk about it again.
Yeah.
I'm going to find out.
I think, I want to say it was College Humor or something that posted a video about that. So I have no idea if it's true or if it's not.
You're telling me at this point in the conversation that your source was College Humor. You're telling me
I think
now.
it was, that dude, I think it was like one of those Adam Knows Everything, those?
Yeah,
I think it was one of those ones from memory.
Alright. I'm not salty. I'm not going to say I'm salty.
You're not salty? After we have an in-depth conversation.
Oh, God.
Don't get me wrong, I could be completely wrong. Like,
yeah.
But it's possible that, that did happen. Because, again, I saw that in a video. It's media.
Yeah.
So I could be lied to. We don't know what's happening.
Yeah. I believe you. I'm still going to search it up after and fact check. I want to be sure now. Now I'm interested.
Could we get a fact check in the comments on our YouTube, please?
Any gladiator connoisseurs, like,
yeah,
or like Roman
anybody
Empire
know
kind of
anything
thing?
about gladiators, like gladiator battles? Were we right or were we wrong? Answer
yeah.
below.
Answer below. Hell yeah, dude. Dude, I have written next to that as well, space, Earth, planets, because you want to talk about space. Should that be our last topic? Talk about some space.
Yeah, I reckon we got time to talk about a bit of space and stuff.
Yeah. All right. What are your thoughts on space? Jesus Christ! All right, give me 1 sec. Someone's calling me.
Oh, all right. We're gonna intermission.
Someone just spam called me. All right, I'm back. We're good. Okay.
All right.
Cool. All right, let's go.
So I guess it's hard to talk about space as a whole because it's so vast. I don't know where to start because it's such a broad topic, just space.
It's too big. Yeah.
I guess we can talk about space travel. I guess if you want. What are your thoughts on space travel?
Space travel.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool. I mean, I'm an idiot because I love Star Wars and I've always loved Star Wars and I just think of like, it's like spaceships and like space battles and shit and that's
going
so
through
cool.
the hyperspace and hyperdrive.
Yeah, like the hyperdrive, yeah. But like I do watch the the land, like the rocket sends up and lands like when they happen.
Yeah.
Apparently they hit some milestone this year, like actually like sending a rocket up and getting the same one back down or something like that.
Oh yeah, that was
this year.
Tesla, not Tesla, but Elon Musk's SpaceX. Yeah. That's the one. SpaceX.
Yeah, I'm all about that like exploration, dude. Like go for it. I mean, it's pretty cool. Like to be honest, I used to think about that stuff a lot, but then it kind of freaked me out. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm not built for this. Maybe I'm just not like edgy and jaded enough to think about, like, I don't know. It does freak me out sometimes. Not thinking, just like how big it is, the scale. It's almost like, actually, do you find it like settling that like to know how insignificant we are? I find it settling that like,
I mean,
knowing that I'm so insignificant.
We are literally, as my old physics teacher used to say, we are a speck of dust in in space. Literally, we're a speck of dust in
for sure.
unknown amount of area. That's all we are, which is interesting. But like, yeah, it's just
I don't know. I think it's good and bad. Like, I don't know. I feel like my life is worthless now, but now it's like, it's almost like, oh, at least, I can, make decisions and do things just because it all doesn't matter. But I mean, that's a bit more of an existential thing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever live on a different planet? Like not within our lifetime, but like...
Probably not within our lifetime, no, but definitely, I think we definitely will in the future. We'll probably kill this planet. We probably will.
Well, I mean, it's already dying. It's beyond saving, isn't it? Even if we like...
Unless,
what are the chances?
I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna say unless there's a mass genocide, but let's not go. Let's not go into that. COVID did that.
But like, you literally have to cripple how society works, and that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I think society is flawed. Of course it is. It's always going to be flawed.
All societies are flawed.
How can you restructure like capitalism and all that stuff within a lifetime? You can't really.
There's no hope. Especially in today's day and age. Don't get me wrong. Back in the day with, like Alexander the Great, he bloody conquered half of Europe. Yeah. So, of course, and then straight after, he got dethroned or whatever, it all went back, not to normal, but it all changed.
But I think I said that maybe last week, or maybe I'm just in my head. I think I said, like, that could happen. Of course, the technology was different and the inventions and, like, the landscape was different and all that. But, like, the reason that wouldn't happen now is because I guess the human life is valued differently to how it was before. I mean, there are still people out there who don't give a flying, rat's ass, but like, life isn't just about survival as much, I guess, anymore. It's more about like
living.
You're alive. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, what can you do to help other people and all that kind of stuff? I think that's where the dynamics change, and it's kind of like, if there was to be one person, or Alexander the Great, who to conquer half of the world, like, just imagine what would happen these days. Nukes would be dropped and shit like that. I don't know enough about politics, but just imagine how it would be. Like, we're gonna kill ourselves. I mean, it's bound to happen. It's obvious. We've killed ourselves already, but
I completely agree there. Again, I find it interesting. Again with the topic of nukes, like, and war. I don't get war. Like,
neither do I.
It just doesn't make sense because back in the old days, it was generally, they were conflicting over, like land or something like that, or like, a murder or something. But in today's day and age, what is most wars over, and then more countries get dragged in, etc. And I don't understand because to me it's just a lot of unnecessary deaths,
violence. Yeah. It comes down to human nature, I think. I think we got to look at ourselves as like a big pack of animals, because we are. That's what we are.
Yeah.
And unless you can in the future, and that's why I think like, issues in society can never be fixed unless you somehow eliminate primal instinct and flaws within humans. But that's the whole thing. We are humans.
Yeah. That's what makes us human. Flaws make us human.
Yeah. Exactly. People are naturally aggressive. Think about like two gorillas fighting in the wild for a mate. Like, think about like that on a mass scale, like on war, like people fighting food, fighting for a water hole, like how animals do that. Like that's literally what we're doing. Like, I don't know. I find it interesting how like some people are into the idea of like communism on paper, or that kind of theory, or capitalism, and how people want to cripple that. But like, it's gonna get to the point where one day, like, not Gen Z, but some kind of generation is gonna have to literally think of a way to restructure society so it's better, because this clearly still doesn't work. It still doesn't work.
And because I think it's also a mixture, because we're not I think we're not seen as one whole society. There's hundreds of different societies within cultures, and it changes from town to town. Even there's different cultures, different ways of life, etc. And I think that's something something that can't be eliminated. It's just something we have to live with, that can't be changed, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know enough about like the money politics and like societal structures. I want to know more about it. I know my sister knows a bit more about it, but she was saying how if you're like if you have a bajillionaire or whatever, not a bajillionaire, but billionaire, millionaire, that money, no matter how you got it, is come from corruption of sorts, and it is.
I mean, like you look at Jeff Bezos though. I don't know. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I don't know about his corruption, but they say he's a billionaire. But the thing is, he doesn't actually have access to a lot of that money. A lot of that money is, his companies, his different companies, Amazon, etc.
But you got to think about it as well, like there's enough, like Bezos has enough like value monetarily in his life to give value to hundreds of people in need. Like the distribution of monetary value is unbalanced, is what I'm saying.
I agree, but all right. It's like the state of utopia. If everybody's equal, then things will, if everybody has the same, same income, same everything, same car, etc. Other things will obviously increase. So, because people always want more money.
Yeah, the reason that doesn't work is because humans, want more. Some people work harder than others. People are greedy. It's stuff like that. But what I'm saying is not there to be all equal, but a better balance. It should be more spread out. Because, like, I think if you're hitting the billions, like, what do you even do with that money?
Yeah.
Like,
but
I don't know.
Yeah, again,
I guess I don't know. Yeah, it's
again, he doesn't have that in his back pocket. That's in his company.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, it's more just like if if you think about the salary, even the top 1% people of the world make like 100K a year. Like Bezos, or even though he doesn't have it in his back pocket, he has millions in his back pocket easily.
Yeah. Easy.
Like you don't need all that money, even to do all that you want. Like quite literally, you don't.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you have that wealth, you can speak differently. So I guess it changes, but I still think what I can say is there's definitely issues that need to be fixed. I mean, that's so general.
Absolutely, yeah. Like there's definitely societal. In society, it's just it's you can't control society. You can't control people's actions. So it's hard to and even if, like we said, we go through with if that happened, Bezos shed his wealth, like I said, people will want more, and everyone won't be equal, and I feel that having one person with a lot of wealth I almost want to say having one person with a lot of wealth would be better than the bottom, like 60% having the same wealth.
Yeah, for sure.
Purely because it would mess up the economy as well. Like that's something you still do have to look at. You can't ruin it more than it is.
It's more that it's more just like if your family is poor and it's built on poverty, there's no way you can work. There's no possible way you can work hard enough to become Jeff Bezos.
Exactly.
It's not possible.
It's
not how society works. But that's where the flaw comes in, because if you have a bad sport, I said if you have a bad spawn, that's so bad. If you get born into, if you start off with difficulties, like
say you're born in sub-Saharan Africa, you're born below the poverty line, because the other thing about in sub-Saharan Africa, completely off topic, but the cases of HIV and AIDS is astronomical compared to every other country and continent in the world, and that's because again they're living in poverty, they don't have access to healthcare, etc. They just don't have the economy.
But you see how it's a cycle. It's a cycle that
they can't get out of it.
It gets worse. Exactly, you can't. And the next generation won't get out of it, and the next, because they don't have the resources to get out.
Exactly it.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's a cycle. Yeah.
I get.
I thought it was interesting. Anyway.
Yeah, we actually studied that in my course, but I can't remember what you called it. It's some sort of cycle. Though. But
yeah, it's interesting though. I'm just wondering when I'm an old grandpa, in the old people's home, if that's still a thing. I don't know. I'm going to be there and be look at the next generation, creating these new societal structures, laws, concepts, cultural things, things, especially in Western areas, going to become more communal. I've noticed that a lot of in Western culture, it's more very individual. You're going to rise and grind to the top. Whereas in other cultures, it's a lot more communal and about helping each other. And I wonder if things like that would change, or how they would develop. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah. Anyway. No, I agree. It is definitely interesting.
Yeah. How it's changed throughout time and history.
Yeah.
Anyway, We kind of went off topic, but I mean, I guess it was interesting.
That's alright, yeah.
Yeah. We're running out of time.
I think that concludes today's episode, honestly. We're at about
Yeah.
roughly 50 minutes.
I think so.
I think that's a good length.
I mean,
I guess we'll wrap up today's episode. I just want to quickly say as well, next week we do have an announcement. We are expecting to get a guest of some description on. We haven't clarified who yet. It's probably just gonna, it won't be anybody, like Ed Sheeran or, Jeff Bezos, but it'll just be someone to, have a bit more fun, etc.
for sure. More opinions,
that's something I
more
wanted
topics.
to say. Raph, do you have anything to say now?
Sorry, I butted in there, dude.
I
I
don't
mean
know,
that. Still haven't got that telepathic synergy there yet. We'll get there.
I mean, we're getting better. We're getting better.
We are. But it's good to have. We're having a surprise guest next week. Even a different person to us, but also someone who can spark new topics, give their opinion, and just the more the merrier.
Exactly. Yeah.
Looking forward to it. It's a good episode.
Yeah.
Special episode.
Yeah, it'll be a special episode as well, and of course we will be having a Halloween week special.
Yes.
And let's just say we have big plans for that episode. So we hope you guys stick around for that. That'll be really good to watch.
It's actually gonna be good. Might be a double special. We'll see.
It might be. We might upload both because Halloween's on the Saturday. We may upload Friday and Saturday. We haven't decided yet. Let us know in the comments actually if you'd prefer, either a longer episode uploaded on the Friday or 2 episodes in that week.
Just to add on top of that, before we end, please do if you have any topics you want to talk about, because we have topics we write down that we want to talk about, or stuff in the week, or interesting stuff that we just want to rant about. Because this podcast is kind of
it's a bit all over the
podcast.
Place, but, yeah.
The vibe of the podcast is kind of just friends talking, kind of like a conversation you have with your mate. Yeah, exactly. But if you have any topics you want to talk about, you want to hear me talk about, or you want our opinions on, or you want to come on and talk about it, let us know. Send us a message. Leave it in the comments.
Yeah. I will say that I have had a few people, asking if they can come on. Obviously, we can't get everybody on, so we do apologize for that. But we want to bring people on here. But again, we need you to have something to talk about as well with us. We don't just want to.
We need to farm you for content, dude.
Exactly. We need to farm you for content. You need to be our monetization.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I think that's it. You got anything?
I think that's it. Did we have anything else? I don't think so.
I think I'm good. I feel good.
I did have something on my tip of my tongue, but I forgot it already. Yeah, I guess that's it, guys.
I guess that's it.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to episode 3 of the Slightly Improper Podcast, and we will see you all next week with episode 4.